So a lot of you have actually Facebooked me or emailed me asking me my opinion on equipment to use or how to set up their rig and things like that for single stack division or for production division, those kind of things. And I thought I'd go ahead and address it here in a small video, kind of explaining the equipment that I use, kind of what I prefer, and maybe take a look at a few things in my range bag as to what I actually use and take in competition. First of all, I use a ResComp belt, which is, I know CR Speed also has the same belt. Blade Tech as well also carries that same style belt. Basically, just about anything will work as long as it really is. I prefer the inner and outer. The inner being an inner belt that goes through your belt loops that's got like a soft Velcro on it. And then the outer belt, which of course is basically like a steel reinforced belt. So it's got like a metal reinforcement inside of it so it holds its shape. And of course it's Velcroed on the inside as well. So when you put this on, it wraps around your inner belt. And then of course everything is firmly attached and nothing moves around. You don't have to worry about the holster sliding around or mag pouches slipping around, anything like that. As far as holster, I prefer the Blade Tech. Basically, this is just a Blade Tech standard 1911 holster that I've actually got attached to probably one of the best, if not the best, dropped offset brackets on the market, which is, I know you can get these from the Ben Steger Pro Shop. These are called the Boss holster hangers. And this one I've actually got set up on the highest setting up here. So it is set up and able to be used in single stack, and it is single stack legal. This, of course, is pretty awesome. It's full steel. Everything about it is adjustable. You can adjust the cant if you're allowed to do so in your particular division. You can also drop it way down. In fact, I use another one of these for a limited gun that I hardly ever shoot. But and in production division, I do drop this one notch with my production rig as well. But man, it holds its place well. It's attached to the belt firmly and securely. You don't have to worry about it moving and sliding around. The holster itself is nice and firm. It doesn't move or have any sort of any kind of slop in it whatsoever, left, up or down or in or out. And everything, again, is completely legal for single stack. As far as my mag pouches are concerned, right now and currently, I've been using CR Speed Versa mag pouches with Sean Gaines, I believe, is the guy at Power Factor Shooting that made the shims that actually go inside here to shim these out to make these to where they're able to hold a single stack magazine and hold them securely. When you set these up, of course, I'm pretty small waisted. I'm a size 30 waist. So for me to get 6 of these on here, my last one's just kind of a junk mag pouch I had laying around. I use it basically just for my Barney mags. So when I load one into the gun and chamber it, then I'll pull it out, stick it back in that mag pouch, and then grab the first one out of my regular mag pouches to go ahead and load with. So this is kind of if crap hits the fan and I absolutely need a 6th magazine, then I might stoke another round, another magazine in this pouch only. Other than that, I typically run right off the 5. So the thing I like about mag pouches similar to these as far as how they're split, with the open design like this, especially with the retention screws on them, is so that you can adjust the tension themselves to be able to get the magazines held with exactly the amount of tension you want. You don't want them too loose, but you obviously don't want them too tight as well. And that basically does it as far as equipment, as far as my belt's concerned. Again, for single stack, the magazines, I guess you could cant them if you wanted to. Again, for me, my waist is so small, if I cant the magazine pouches any other way other than just basically straight up and down, there's no way I could be able to fit 6. And they have to be from the hips back. So the same with the holster. So when everything is on, and in fact, I can go ahead and put that on right now. When everything is on, holster is behind your left hip. The mag pouches are actually behind the right hip, or vice versa if you're a right-handed shooter. So everything basically stays 180 degrees behind your hips. So if I were to cant these, the problem is if I canted one further back so that I could be able to maybe reach it a little bit easier, I'd have a hard time really being able to get a 5th or even a 6th magazine pouch back on the belt. The other thing you have to do too is the holster itself needs to be legal for single stack. Basically, what has to happen is the holster. Again, I use the holster hanger, but the holster itself needs to set up high enough so that when the pistol is inserted into the holster, like so, the front strap of the gun needs to be above or at the exact same height as the top of the belt. So any lower than this gun actually would set a little too low on the belt, which would make it illegal. Obviously, if I went even really low, I mean, you can drop this gun literally an entire full inch and a half and really get a good drop on it. But unfortunately for single stack division, that wouldn't be legal. So the great thing about it, though, is even with it at the highest point, it still sets a little lower than, say, the Tech Lock or the Stingray attachment. And it also, again, gets the gun out a little bit further away from your hip or away from your body so that you can actually get a good purchase on the gun with your hands when you go to make a draw on the gun. So that's it as far as my belt and equipment is concerned. I'm actually in the future going to be running later this season all the Blade Tech Competition Series mag pouches to go along with my Blade Tech holster. So I'm kind of excited about those. I've been using the CR Speeds for years. Like the mag pouches a lot. Just a couple little nuances in them. I'm just, it takes some extra shims and things like that to make them work for me. So I'm kind of excited about the Blade Techs being a single stack setup. So the mag pouches are made for single stack. They don't take a bunch of extra spacers and shims and things like that to make them work. So kind of excited. As far as other equipment, safety equipment, obviously if we open up my range bag here, I've got a good set of electronic ears. These are Howard Light, the Impact series. I've also got a set of custom earplugs that I'll a lot of times wear, especially when it's hotter outside, just because the earmuffs make me sweat quite a bit. As safety glasses, I recently became sponsored with ESS Eyewear, and they've got a set of ballistic glasses that are pretty freaking sweet. This is a pair of their glasses called the Crossbows, and these are called Crossbow suppressors, which the real cool thing about these is the lenses are interchangeable. The frames themselves are extremely durable. The lenses, again, are ballistic rated. But with the suppressor style, these earpieces are extremely thin, so they're actually made to be used with over-the-ear ear protection. And, of course, everything sits on there, and with the over-the-ear ear protection on, man, you don't even know you have these on. Whereas a lot of other glasses, they tend to kind of pinch into your temples or pinch into, just over the ears, and it kind of makes wearing over-the-ear ear protection kind of a pain. Really like them. Been wearing them now for a couple of weeks, and, they're freaking fantastic. So look into those. ESS Eyewear. As far as anything else, really, I mean, obviously ear protection, eye protection, the belt rig, the whole 9 yards there. I carry a couple of spare towels and things like that in my bag. You never know if you're going to have to shoot in wet conditions or hands are sweaty, or obviously you just need a rag to be able to wipe the gun down. Also carry some lubricants with me, some extra tools, extra gun parts, things like that. A lot of times if I go to a major match, I will take a backup gun with me. As far as the gun that I choose, obviously in single stack division, those that obviously know me, and probably a lot of you that don't, I use specifically a Sig Sauer 1911. This is a Max Michel model. It is a 45 ACP. But of course, it basically out of the box, it comes just like this. So it's got the Bomar style rear sight, Dawson fiber optic front sight. It gets the big Dawson Ice magwell. And the only thing I have done to the pistol myself, it does come with the flat trigger, Koenig hammer, EGW sear, all the good stuff. So the only thing I've done to it myself is I did swap out the magazine release to an Ed Brown bigger mag release, just because of the way I operate the mag release. I use my trigger finger, so it just makes it easier for me to be able to get a good press on the mag button to be able to drop my magazines free. With the gun that I choose, I run only Wilson Combat ETM magazines. These are just their standard part number 500 series Wilson ETMs, Elite Tactical Mags, and 45 ACP as well. I like the follower design. The springs are awesome. The tubes themselves are long enough whereas like the old Wilson 47D or some like the Kimber ProTac mags and things like that are basically a 7-round mag tube that they, of course, then just run a shorter spring and maybe a slightly thinner follower in order to get or to be able to cram 8 rounds into it. Whereas the ETM was kind of built with 8 rounds in mind. So the tube is as long as it can be to allow 8 rounds fully loaded. And the great thing about it is being able to get 8 rounds fully loaded in it. It's still extremely, if this had 8 rounds in the gun, 8 rounds in the magazine, it would load just exactly that easy into the gun. You don't have to cram it in, anything like that. So even with a closed chamber, 8 rounds fully loaded in that magazine, and it loads into the gun. The only thing different that I choose beyond just the Wilson ETM mags is I do run the Dawson base pads for the Wilson ETM mags. And the reason for that is so that they utilize and they work in conjunction with the Dawson no-gap ice magwell. So basically, if you don't, you can't get the magazine to seat because the ice magwell basically pulls everything down a little off of the bottom tab or the bottom tang of the front strap of the gun, so then you wouldn't be able to get the magazine to seat. So the Dawson base pads work in conjunction with the no-gap magwell to allow the magazines to seat, and they cannot actually over-insert into the gun and cause any kind of ejector damage or anything like that, because they do stop as they do seat and stop against the inner magwell liner. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about was ammunition. I'm kind of a stickler as far as kind of being old school. I run a 1911 and 45 ACP. I like that caliber. I like 230 grain ball. I'm pretty easy going when it comes to that. I like the fact that that's what the gun was designed to run around, so you don't typically have a lot of finicky issues with, kind of running like 40 caliber or 9mm. Sometimes can give those, those calibers can give a 1911 some issues and things. So I stick with kind of the good stuff, the 230 grain ball. I use on target ammunition. This is my match ammo supplier, and the ammo that they make is absolutely beautiful. It cycles well, it runs well, it makes power factor. I can't say great enough things about them. Awesome company, awesome product. Definitely look into them, giving them a call, or checking them out as well. That's basically everything that I carry and use, and kind of how you would set up your magazine setup and your mag pouches and holster. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any other questions or anything maybe I didn't cover you'd like to see me cover, hit me up on Facebook or even on the YouTube page, and I'll be glad to answer everything I can. All right, thanks.